Welcome to another episode of the Modern Father Podcast. I got my boy, my brethren, the Shaka Zulu, the man, the myth, the legend, Benji. What's good, man? How you doing?
What's up, man? Don't call me no goddamn Shaka Zulu. Hell no, man. Get that shit out of here.
Edit.
Disrespectful. What's going on, bro? How you doing today?
Oh man, it's been one of those days. I've been in the trenches. Like getting that work in, doing a bunch of chores, stuff. I got work tonight. Preparing for tomorrow, game day tomorrow. I get to, wear my little VGK outfit. Vegas Golden Knights, by the way, if you guys don't know hockey, which a lot of people don't know hockey. But yeah, I'm about to go to the game. I got one of my boys from San Diego ready to go to this game, so it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be real entertaining to actually be a part of the game, not work in the games, man. How about you? How's week number 4, little lady?
Yeah, we're growing every day.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're meeting the milestones, so I kind of I do little Google searches to see what she should be doing. We're on track. We're kind of moving like a 2-month-old, which is nice. Building that independence. Yesterday, I put her in this crib behind me, take her first nap. She woke up freaking out.
Hell yeah.
A whole new world over here. But just been utilizing the nursery more. I want to get her more and more comfortable. She slept like a champ last night. I mean, she slept from 10 p.m. to 3 a.m.
Oh wow.
Which was beautiful. Yeah, I woke up, fed her, changed her. She shitted all over, which is okay, but it was just hilarious. I was like, man, you did a great job for 5 hours, and then you wake up and just shit everywhere. Had to cut her clothes off, like she was in the emergency room or something. I was like, we're just throwing this is going to the garbage. We're just gonna cut it off. And then my wife wakes up and she sees me in the bathroom. I'm like scrubbing my arm, I had shit on my forearm, and it was we just had a nice little moment together. But then she went right back to sleep, and then she slept again until about 7 a.m. and then slept again until about 10. So it was a nice night. It's snowing out here in Denver, so I haven't left the house all day. No gym today, took the day off. I was prepared, so I knew it was going to snow. I did some little groceries, and I made sure I went to the gym every day leading up until today. So it was like a natural rest day.
Right? Hey, did you see my IG post how it snowed here in Vegas?
Yeah, I seen that. Yeah.
It was crazy. That was crazy. Like it was nothing like Denver snow. You know what I mean? It was like light gusts.
I feel like that those desert climates, they're prone to some snow like once a year, once every other year. It gets really cold at night, and then you got climate change. Like Texas, when it snows in Texas, it snows like an inch, and I'll see like my homies out in Dallas, and they're like, "Oh, school's closed because it snowed an inch," but like the roads are just slippery and they don't have anything to.
People die from that, man.
Yeah, people come like an inch.
That's crazy.
Yeah, we're over here. They didn't shut schools down at all. They didn't no delay start today. No, I know people are pissed. Today there was no delay start, so no, it's still snowing. It's been snowing nonstop since 10 p.m.
Damn, those are like those risky calls. I remember back in Denver, you just wake up to snow, and you like look on the website, you're like, all right, is this going to be closed today? Is it going to be open today? And then some days they would close, and I was like, man, it stopped snowing at like 10 o'clock. But then there's some days it's like, why am I here? It's crazy.
Am I here? I see some of the homies like Instagrams, and like their first period was completely empty, and it was just them.
Right.
Well, I mean, it's accumulated. I don't know. Maybe it's not that much. I think it's like 4 inches now, and mind you, it's been snowing nonstop, and it's not supposed to stop until like 11 p.m. tonight.
Right.
So I just know like traffic has been terrible today. I don't even want to deal with it.
Yeah, I'm surprised like the buses weren't having bad times. That's when they start calling it, is when the buses like really get unsafe. And if it's like that, man, like I'm surprised the buses.
I was surprised that they didn't do a delay start or cancel or nothing. Everyone had to go to work today except for me. I'm winding down. I got 2 weeks left of fraternity, so I'm winding down. I'm getting mentally prepared to go back to work.
Enjoy it. Speaking of being mentally prepared, that's what our episode's about today, is just mental health and how us modern fathers can be our best people, stay focused every single day, and make sure that we're treating our bodies right, and also talking about this kind of stuff because, like, there's certain times where we can go crazy. So that's it's a really good segue for that. But first, man, let's get warmed up. With our layup line. Valentine's Day, right? Oh, I love that Euro stuff. I miss that. Oh, speaking of that, I got invited to a adult basketball league.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but it's kind of one of those hood leagues. Like I've heard stories already where dudes are already like talking about they want to pop the trunk. Like hey, I'm about to go outside real quick. I'll be right back. Kind of basketball. So I'm like, man, I haven't played in like 10 years like that with referees. So man, like I don't want anybody barking at me like that, man. I'm about to put it to somebody though. I got this big body muscles now, so I'll just use that Baron Davis
I want
game.
to join the men's league too. I mean, that's on my to-do list. Actually, at my gym, you have to try out for the men's league.
Yeah, no, you should
Because
do it. That's like a draft combine. That'd be
yeah,
dope.
because they level you out. They have like
Right,
multiple leagues, so they level you out based on your skill set,
right.
which is
And
cool.
you can start from the bottom and just get in shape, and then start
Yeah, I
working your
just
way
can't
back up.
run. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
cool. I'm 6 man. Get off the bench.
yeah. That's
Sit
that's what I'm
like
saying. Like, just give
seven
me,
minutes.
exactly. That's all I need. Just give me 6 minutes a half, and I'm like, I'm
I'm
straight.
good.
Oh
I'm
yeah, I'm
cool.
straight. I'm not
I
gonna
could.
be arguing for playing time. Hey, man, put me
Yeah.
in. Yeah, come out. You're that
Nah,
one
I'm
dude, that
good.
impromptu sub guy. That one,
Yeah.
you're on the street, and that guy goes, "Hey man, I'm gonna sub you out." Like, nah, sit your ass
Sit your
down.
ass down.
Impromptu
Sit
sub
down,
guy.
Craig. Sit down, man.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, no, I'm good. But we'll see. I wanted to do it, but the day that they had the tryout was my baby's due date. So I was like, well, I can't fucking make it to
No,
this.
no.
So maybe the next go around, I'll be able to do it. But we'll see.
Only professionals can miss their babies being born. Especially, I think if it's like your second one. If it's your first one, like depending on what game. Now, like there was a Super Bowl guy. I forgot who it was in the Super Bowl.
Miracle
That
Hardman.
yeah, his wife was in labor during the Super Bowl.
But he was injured anyway. He didn't even play.
Okay. Okay, but
Yeah, he
can you
was out.
imagine you get to play? Like, what would you do? What would you do? Especially if it's your firstborn. This is the part of the labor line. Part of the.
I would go. I would go because he's already won a Super Bowl ring. I'm pretty sure he was on that first team.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not. I mean, it's dope, but he already has a ring. I'm confident that he was on that team
Right.
that won the first one. I'm pretty sure he was like a rookie. He might have
Right.
been a rookie that year. So he has a ring already, but he's injured, so he wasn't even. I don't know if he was at the game. Maybe he had to leave like the whole like he couldn't be there for it at all. But
He pulled RG3.
yeah, he did. Yeah, but he wasn't. I mean, he wasn't slated to play that game anyway.
Right. Well,
But
good for him. Well, okay. Valentine's Day. Controversial. This is our controversial don't get fired subject of the day. Right here. We're going to start it off first right here. All right. Valentine's Day. All right. All online, right? Twitter, Instagram. I'm reading people. And they said this. Valentine's Day is for simps. Valentine's Day is for suckers. Valentine's Day is garbage. These were a bunch of people that were saying this online. Do you agree or disagree?
I 100% disagree.
All right, tell me why.
Disagree. Valentine's Day to me is just some straight player shit, man. Like Valentine, I've always been like I said, man. I love romantic comedies, bro. I don't understand what's the big deal about giving your partner something and just letting them know that you obviously you want to show you care about somebody every day. I obviously, right? But I don't understand what is the big deal about having one other day where you buy some chocolates, you buy some flowers, you buy a balloon, just to express it a little bit more than you typically do. You don't have to go all out. And now, if you got some broad over there that's just like she wants like all these things and has like these crazy expectations, but you do with what makes sense within your relationship. It doesn't have to be nothing crazy. I mean, because on to combat that, I've seen videos from women, and they're just like how easy Valentine's Day is. You can get the cheapest flowers, you can get just her favorite candy, a candy bar, not even like nothing, no fancy heart box, and most women would be satisfied with that because they understand the means of their relationship. Now, if you're going above and beyond to do something stupid and break yourself and break the bank for a special day, then yeah, you're a goofy. And I agree, it's a waste of money, it's a waste of time. But if you're doing it within reason of your income and where you're at in your status of your relationship, I don't see what the problem is. I honestly, I don't see what I think it's just an excuse for dudes to be lazy.
So this is I'll challenge you on a few points here. The roses on Valentine's Day, right?
Hmm.
They are like 300 to 400% marked up. Okay, if you
Supply and
want to
demand,
take,
baby.
there's a high demand, exactly. But why would you want to wait until like tomorrow to where those are now marked down? All right, I'm just saying we have to not. That's not even me. It's not even me being frugal, Fred. It's just me being great with my investment. Of that, going out to eat on Valentine's Day is also like another thing. It's just like, man, like all the restaurants are packed. Everything's crazy. Like I
Then
prefer
don't
to
go.
more cook. Was yeah, exactly. I prefer to cook more for for my significant other. She ordered pizza. I was getting ready to cook, and she ordered pizza. She's just like, just go pick it up. And I was like, all right, well that's easy for
That's
me.
but that
Yeah.
works though. You see, but that
It,
works.
it,
But
but here's what I will agree with you though is find what works with your partner. And I will say this though, if your partner is asking for like the dos muchos for Valentine's Day, I would ask her why. I would ask her like, hey, like why? Because this is to me a fabricated Hallmark holiday to help consumer spending in the month of February. That's what I consider Valentine's Day. Like why can't we have a day like on March 3rd where it's just like, hey, it's our relationship day. Where we go out and it's not our anniversary, it's not like a point of emphasis, it's like a random point of emphasis day where we just like, hey, it's March 3rd day. Like let's just do that.
it'll be the same concept. Everyone will
Yeah,
know.
but then it's not as marked up though. But if you think
But it
about it,
will
that
be.
certain day is like just marked up. It's just it is marked up.
Oh, are
It
you
is
saying like it's a day like agreed upon within your relationship? Not
yes,
no.
yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah, yeah.
okay.
So I'm saying like a March 3rd, it's like a random day. Like so it's not your anniversary. It's not nobody's birthday. It's just a random day in your relationship that you guys find that you guys are like, hey, like this is a great day for us to have celebrate us being together. You know what I mean? I just think that Valentine's Day is just more of a day to where it helps consumer spending. It's just like St. Patrick's Day. It's just like Easter. It's all those days. Easter actually has more meaning to me, but like I'm not too deeply religious, but like that was actually a day like where our family really got together. Besides like Thanksgiving, so I'll go into Easter when that happens. But Easter egg hunts are great too. I love Easter, man. Don't get me started with Easter. Easter's fun. Going to church Easter Sunday, I used to do that a lot, but I stopped going to church, and I should go back because church is cool. Church is good
I
community based.
I
But
just yeah. Go
yeah,
ahead.
I don't want to go home to
I
that. But
just don't think I don't think it's that deep. I mean, I just think it's you just make a nice gesture. You don't have to go. And I just had this conversation with one of my best friends who was in a new
hmm
relationship,
hmm
and I'm like, bro, don't overspend on flowers.
right,
Like, don't overdo it. Do it within again your means. Make it make sense. Like I saw on Twitter, like it was like a school counselor talking about a student. He's like, I got this kid in here stressing about how he's gonna buy a girl a Telfair purse, and then I was like, okay, that's
now
like,
that's simping. That's going the extra
yeah,
mile.
but the fact that he had someone to talk to about that to have him understand, like, no, that's not the point of this right now.
Right,
It's showing.
but
It's just
who taught that kid to do that though? You
social
know what I mean?
media,
Like he must have saw something,
social media.
and that's the problem. Like no kid should be going out of their way, borrowing money or digging deep in his piggy bank to go buy a girl that's not even his girlfriend, or even like even if it's your middle school girlfriend, a purse, a bag, or something
Of
like
course
that.
not.
And that's
Of
what
course
that's
not.
what Valentine's Day is all about: is consumer spending, and it gets dudes that are impressionable, like that young man. Bless that young man's heart and bless that counselor for saving his pockets for doing something like that
See,
is
but
and that's why it's a simp. That's why I actually I will agree with the people. It is a simp holiday. It is a holiday where it's consumer spending. Men, get your wallets out and spend money on your girl.
Well, guess what, y'all? If you don't buy your girl Valentine's, don't be surprised if somebody else buys her some shit that will make her smile that day. No, I'm just saying, man.
If
Don't.
you lose your girl over that, then
Nah, I
goodbye.
mean,
You know what I
I'm
mean?
just saying. I'm
Bye.
just saying,
You
like,
know? See
I'm
ya.
just saying. Man, even in middle school, like my middle school girlfriend, I bought her something for Valentine's Day.
Well, yeah. I mean,
You know
I
what
get
I
her the
mean? I
candy
mean,
with the little stuff on it, the little quotes on it.
I
Yeah,
bought
you know,
like some flowers, nothing super
make it
crazy.
hard.
A
Yeah.
card.
Yeah.
I sent them like we used to do like them telegram things and like when the kids is like a little choir, used to go to class and they sing a song and like this song is dedicated to and they'll name all the names and shit.
Right.
Like we used to do stuff like that, but like
That
I
sounds
mean
cute.
yesterday I kept it pretty simple.
Right.
And then I
I saw
bought
what you did for your daughter though. That was amazing. That was cool. That was cool.
so I
That
bought
was,
yesterday.
that
I
was,
bought my daughter a single rose and this balloon that's floating behind me. You
yeah.
know, again,
You love your daughter.
starting her young for she don't get impressed by people's funky ass sons. You know what I'm saying?
Hey
So,
man.
and then
Hey,
I got
you ain't
my
lying about that though. Don't let them dudes run that game. You know
and
what I
then I
mean? Make sure
got
she's just game repellent.
yeah, and then I did it simple with my wife too. I bought her the roses. I went bigger for her on the roses. I bought her a
Hmm.
bouquet of 30.
Oh, okay.
But it was for basically for the 30 hours of labor. So,
Oh yeah,
you
because
know what I
she did
mean?
a marathon,
She
man.
had to
That
do the
was
marathon.
gauntlet.
And then I bought her a drink from Starbucks. She loves
Hmm.
Starbucks. You know what I mean? Got some cupcakes. Again, something very simple. And we ordered Chinese food,
Hmm.
American Chinese food.
What, Panda
You know,
Express?
nah, Peters.
Peters.
Come
I
on.
miss Peters. I think me and my long time definitely miss Peters for
Yeah,
sure.
we ordered Peters and we chilled and that was it. That was our Valentine's Day and it was perfect.
Right?
And back in the day when we were younger, we were definitely. I would always be the one. I would get reservations. I would go to different restaurants. I would go to a restaurant. I would do all that little stuff like that. But I still wasn't nothing crazy over the top.
Right.
Like it wasn't like a lot of gift giving. It was really just the flowers. Really just the bouquet of flowers, maybe a nice card, some candy, and dinner.
So
And
you would say just more the acknowledgement that the love is blossoming. The love
yeah,
the love is there. The love is
yeah,
there.
love is there, and it's just and then it's a time for her to like shit on her friends, like,
Okay, look
nah,
at you.
I just
Put it
playing,
on the table, huh? Just
I
throw it
just
on the table.
yeah, I'm just playing, but nah, I'm just fucking around, but like seriously, I don't think it's that big of a deal, man. It's just it's a nice day. It's a nice day to do something nice for somebody who you care about. You don't have to overspend to make it special. You do again like anything else. You do with whatever works within your relationship should be and will be good enough, and your partner will appreciate anything that you do.
That's a great way to put a bow on that one. That's amazing. Our next one is going to be a little bit more heartfelt. Michigan State. Three lovely students lost their lives on Monday due to a school shooting that happened. What's your thoughts on that? Do you feel like that we're gonna hear about this for the rest of our lives? And then also like, do you have any preventions on anything?
Prob-
And then also let's look at it from like a father's lens because all three of these kids have fathers. Let's look at it through that lens.
I mean, it looks like the trend of like we're getting more and more of those. I actually went to when I went to college. Um, it was crazy. So the NIU shooting.
Mm-hmm. I
Um,
remember that.
I was not a student yet. I was a senior,
Uh
but
huh.
I was there the day before the shooting
That's crazy.
on a tour. I was doing a tour of the campus, and I had to like take a test or some shit. I was literally there the day before the shooting, which is
Mm-hmm.
nuts. And like where the shooting took place, I was right there.
Mm-hmm.
So that's nuts. It just seems like it's a trend, man. It's unfortunate. It's crazy. People are going through it emotionally. I would say it's crazy to hear like in a time where you have all this ability to connect, people feel more isolated.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. Like when you really like like think about that. Nowadays you have the opportunity to like FaceTime. I mean, me and you are in two different states and we're doing this podcast together. You have
Yep.
cell phones, you have Google Homes, you have all the Snapchat, you can video, IG, you can video call. I'm pretty sure on Facebook, I don't have a Facebook anymore. I haven't had one for years. I'm sure there's a feature on there where I can call one of my friends on there and we have a face-to-face conversation. So we have
Mm-hmm.
all these modes of communication to build connectedness, but yet more and more people feel isolated and lonely. And it's sad. Obviously, as a father, I can't imagine what they're going through.
Right.
You wait your whole life for your kid to start to do something, become independent. They're making the right, they're making a right choice. It's not
Yeah.
the choice for everyone, but going away for college, right? Learning how to be independent, learning some new skills. As a parent, these parents are probably walking around all the time with their Michigan State shirts on.
Mm-hmm.
My child's a student at Michigan. It's always a conversation piece, right? You're always talking about where your kid goes to college.
Mm-hmm.
And then now, like, for that to just be gone. I mean, for your kid just to be gone for something that they didn't even do. Like, they had
Right.
no, not like they were badgering somebody or they were putting themselves in a dangerous situation. They were going about their
Right.
day and doing what they're supposed to be doing, and that was the hand that they were dealt. And when young people pass away, it's always really sad. I mean, it's just a really sad thing to hear about. Um, we had some crazy shit happen in Denver last week regarding young people and passing away.
Mm-hmm.
But then, yeah, this story was just another. It's just another example of people having access to weapons who don't need it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, in a college, I don't know how. Like, I know in schools here we do like a lot of screening for, potential mental health concerns. I'm curious to know if they do that at the college level. Obviously, I went to college. I graduated college about 10 years ago.
Supposedly, it was from a guy who had no affiliation with the school.
So just someone in Lansing.
Just like it was like a 40. I think he was 42.
Uh-huh.
Don't quote me on this one if you're listening. Hope I'm right or wrong about this one. 42 years old, just had no affiliation with the school, just walked on campus, and just decided to do what he did.
That's terrible.
Yeah, man. And you know how open those college campuses are. You can get
Yeah.
in from like multiple different
Yeah, that
directions.
school's huge.
Yeah. From what I heard, it's ginormous. Yeah.
I
So.
visited. I visited most Big Ten schools, and I was a big
Hmm.
guy. They're all big. I mean,
Hmm.
but yeah, man, it's just like I said, it's just sad, and I feel for those families. I feel for the other people who were involved. That whole community is going through it, obviously, just because it's gonna hit hard.
Right.
When I went to Northern Illinois, like obviously I was there the year after. It was eerie. I mean that hall, I can't think of the name of it off the top of my head.
Hmm.
It was closed, dude. So like you would walk by it, and it was just eerie.
Yeah.
It was eerie, and like people to this day, man, there's still a memorial every year, and people still talk about it. Some of the homies I know from college who are older than me, who were on campus when all that taken. My cousin was on campus when that happened,
That's crazy.
and they still, remember it, and the people, like, especially we had like one of the folks who passed away was a Latina student, and if you're a Latino in college, I mean, you know all of them. I mean, there were only like
Hmm.
1,000 of us on a
Hmm.
30,000 person campus, so we all knew each other. So it was a really tight knit community, and it's tough, dude. I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
I don't even know. As a father, like I said, I'm a new father. I would be devastated.
Yeah.
'Cause
I.
and real quick too,
Go
there's
ahead.
probably some guilt in there because you probably wanted them to go to college,
Hmm.
and there could be some guilt in there. Like I don't know. Obviously, I don't know these people. I don't know their backstories. But how shitty would it feel to be like, what if your kid never even wanted to go to school, and you're just
Right.
like, come on, give it a try, give it a try, and they finally like, all right, Dad, I'm gonna give it a try, and this is the result of that effort.
Right. Yeah. No, that's crazy. It's like the only thing like when I think about especially like in the future, possibly sending little man to college, it'd probably be like $90,000 sending for like a year by the time he goes. But like the only thing that you should be worrying about is like, all right, is he gonna go to a party and get super drunk and like end up sleeping out somewhere? Is he gonna mess around with a bunch of girls and get an STD? Is he gonna like screw
Self-inflicted
around?
problems. Yeah.
Yes, that's the only thing you should be thinking about when your kid goes to college. You know what I mean? Not this kind of stuff. Sadly enough, though, it's happening way too much. Like as as a person who grew up with a firearm in the house, firearms people there's like 90, probably 98 to 97% of gun owners are great gun owners. You know what I mean? Like they are just law-abiding citizens. You don't even know some of them have like a gun on them. Like just good people, but are very responsible with it. It's that 2 to 3% that ruin it for everybody. The ones that are just they have poor mental health, like they don't know how to actually talk about their problems. And if they disagree with something, say this person did have, I don't know, like I don't know what this person was going through. I'm definitely not gonna put myself in his head because I'm not gonna be even thinking about doing some stupid crap like that. But say for this person had disagreement with the college, like why who was there for him to reach out and try to help this dude, or was he like too far down a rabbit hole to be like, hey, like I can't even talk to this guy. I didn't even want to talk to this guy. So like I wonder the people were associating with him. I wonder if he was like a loner. And this is all stuff that we're talking about more with the mental health aspect of the show. But like I wonder if he had a network of friends or a network of people, family that can come and help him through these troubling times. Because man, that shouldn't happen. No one should have to bury their kids. Especially I couldn't imagine.
Nah,
Couldn't
man.
imagine.
I mean,
Couldn't imagine.
it's supposed to be the opposite.
Nah, it is
Like your kids are
exactly.
supposed to bury
Bury
you.
me.
So like I mean, it's just, yeah, it's tragic, man. And like I said, it always hits harder when it's young folks. Like I'm not trying to dismiss old people dying,
That's what's supposed to
but
happen, though, man.
you're
Say, shit, if I
supposed
turn
to,
60, if I
yeah.
kick the bucket, I don't care. You know what I mean? Like I can care less. Like I live my life. Like
60's young.
I'm cool. You know what I mean? Like my kid will be set. My long term, she'll be set. You know what I mean? I'm an old man. Like that's even if I die today, I'll be very upset because I want to raise my son. But like I want to at least make sure that he gets into college and I want to see him go through graduate high school and stuff like that. But like old people are supposed to die. That's what life is. Like we know that like, hey, we're only here for a short period of time, but like we at least lived 3 quarters of it, you know?
Yeah.
At least to the fourth quarter, to only make it to the first quarter like that, and then for that to happen, oh man,
Yeah, it's
that's
just
for all the fathers out here who have been, because there's just plenty of mothers, fathers, parents, grandparents, anybody, family members who have been a part of this situation all over the country, all over the world, man. We just pray for you, man, and we just wish that like everything's gonna be successful in
absolutely.
life.
We are finding some joy somewhere because I know that's a
Exactly.
hard pill to swallow,
Oh God, I
and a lot of
couldn't,
emotions are
couldn't
with
imagine.
that. Like I said, the toughest one probably being guilt, and it's not your fault,
It's
and
not.
it's easier said than done. And we don't know you, but if you're listening, I hope you're not blaming yourself and
No.
you're able to make some strides to kind of regaining your life back. Because I know there's a big pause when something
Right.
like that happens.
If you want to talk to somebody too, I know there's hotlines and stuff, but email us too. And like, hey, we'll have a discussion with you and make sure that you're on the up and up. Because man, fathers, we got to unite. Voltron. There's TV shows that are out there now, pivoting on some more funny topic, not that serious. There's TV shows that are out there now. I don't know if you heard of these shows. MILF Manor. Have you heard of this show?
I've seen it. I've seen it like on, yeah, I've seen it on my TV guide when I'm flipping through Xfinity.
Okay, so you know
But
what's
I've never
about, right?
watched it.
Do you know what it's
It's
about?
no, is it a? I have no idea what it's. I'm assuming
Okay.
some type of like bachelor show.
No, so like yeah, it kind of is. Okay, so like they have these older ladies,
Yeah.
MILFs. Okay, they're all on this like Mexican island, right? Mexican resort, and so they have them all there, and they're like they're going to be part of a dating show, but there's the secret that the people they're going to be dating are all their sons.
Each other's.
Yes,
Okay. That's
yeah,
weird.
it's it's super weird. And I haven't watched an episode, but I've watched some stuff on YouTube about it, and it's like it'll basically make your brain melt. There's another show that's on there. I think this is all on TLC, the learning this the learning channel, learning how to people like how to de-evolve. There's another show. It's called Love After Lockup. Have you heard that? I heard about that one.
I have heard about that one.
You know, like where they like have a relationship with people in jail, and then they
And they
go and
finally get
they
out.
release, yeah, and then like they continue that relationship and they follow them around. Okay, so the reason why I'm talking about these two TV shows in general is that like a lot of people watch this stuff, right? Teenagers, adults, they watch this stuff. Is this good for society, or is this more of like, hey, like we're just putting this out there, and it like this is like not serious. If you want to joke and not laugh with us, and you want to have this drama, okay. But is this good for society?
I think it's stupid. And I think, unfortunately, and this is going to sound kind of bad, I think it impacts more folks who are either younger and impressionable or uneducated. And that's because, like, my wife watched dumb shows too. Like, she's watching The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. And I was
Oh my
just like,
god, brutal.
it's brutal. Like, I try
Brutal.
to sit there and I'll watch some episodes, and I'm like, yo, this is terrible. I'm like, why do you watch this garbage? And she's like, sometimes I just need something that's mindless. And it makes sense. I mean, she works in a hospital. I mean, she
Hmm.
deals with high anxiety, I guess, high anxiety work, right?
Hmm.
There's a lot that can go wrong. She's dealing with a lot of other people's shit all the day. So she just needs to watch something that doesn't make her think. The problem is there are too many people who don't think already.
It's true.
So if you don't think already and you're watching mindless TV, that does just sounds like a recipe for disaster. I think it can just really, like the prison one. I have less problems with that one than the MILF Manor, the way you described it,
Hmm.
because that's like, obviously they're adults, but it's kind of like a little bit like a predator type shit, and that's got to be weird. Like you just seeing your son like dating other old ass broads that are your age, and you see like
Or
your
and the
son's
reverse
like
of
a
it, like you're watching your mom
with a
date
bunch of
a
young
younger,
dudes.
younger dude, and like you're talking to that same dude that's possibly having sexual relations with your mom.
You get in a situation when it's like the mom and her son, and then they're like basically like flopping, right? So like
Yeah.
the homies that like that's just I don't even know how that got approved. Like that's just dumb.
Who
Like,
agreed with this?
yeah, who agreed? Who signed off on this shit? Because that's just a weird show to put on TV. I have, like I said, I have less problems with the other one. Like I think that shit's kind of funny too sometimes. Like I saw some dude, I think it was a clip, and this dude was getting played. He paid like 30 G's to this girl, and like, but
That's
that's
it.
him. That was, yeah, being a goofy.
Yeah.
And then like she like dipped on him like a month or so after getting out the joint.
Yeah. Yeah, he got hustled, he got played, but I heard that dude is like I think he's been on the show. I don't know if it's true or not, but like from what I heard is like this is his second time on the show, and like he's just like a goofy dude. But it's like he waited like what was it like I think a year and like a half or a year and 3 or 4 months. Like he didn't have sex, and then like he picks her up with like
Yeah.
lingerie and stuff, and like was buying her all kinds of gifts. And yeah, you said spend like 30 G's to try to get laid. And I'm like, bro, like you could have spent that 30 G's on somebody who's not in prison. Like, like you I mean, I'm not endorsing anything about, hooking up with, prostitution. I know prostitution is legalized in certain places. But like, come on, man, like you could have done that and not gotten screwed over. You know what I mean? Like that bad. Like it's just that guy is he needs help.
He needs
He
friends.
he needs exactly. He needs
He
people that
needs
would be
he needs
like,
a
bro,
circle.
like yeah, and somebody calling him out, like, yo, man, like you're an idiot, like you're dumb,
You're dumb, bro.
you're dumb. But
Uh,
like that's the kind of stuff like you disassociate with people from. Like if I have a dude that's doing that in my circle, like if he doesn't like heed the word, he's gonna get kicked out. Like hey, go simp elsewhere. I'm not gonna be a part of that. You're not representing me.
yeah, you making my circle a square, homie. Get away, right? Nah, Nah, that's just yeah. Like I said, I'm not a big. I don't even watch too much TV to begin with. You know, outside of sports, that's pretty much all I
Hmm.
watch. Sports, and then I follow some TV shows, like more dramas. But I'm not. That shit is just dumb, bro. I don't even
Right.
like. Just like me when I used to watch Jersey Shore when I was in college.
Right.
Like that's probably the
Right.
last. That's probably the last dumb, mindless TV show I really paid attention to was Jersey
Hmm.
Shore, and my roommates used to make fun of me for watching that shit.
That show was great. The first couple seasons were amazing in that show, man. That show
I
was
just can't believe they're still on. Like, bro, like, don't y'all got something else to do? Like, how many vacations? I know it's the money. I get it, but it's just like people are still following enough to where I want to see these old 50-year-old motherfuckers partying like they're still in their 20s, and y'all got some grown ass kids. You're old. You're still like, gym tan laundry. Like, man, like you haven't evolved from that. Like, I feel like a lot of like young actors, they get to a point where they're like, I'm not doing scenes like that anymore. I'm
yeah.
not playing that role anymore. I want to
Right.
evolve from that.
Right.
And these mugs just keep on rolling with it. Like, we're gonna do the same. We're gonna run it back again. We're gonna run it back again. Like, come on, man.
It's
And
kind
people
of
watch
like
it.
it's kind of like how like Pitbull.
Yeah.
I love Pitbull. You know what I mean? But like at some point, how much party music can you make? You know what I mean? Like he keeps the party going. You know what I mean? Like that guy is like a constant party, and I think that's why he wears shades every time. 'Cause he's probably so burnt out. He probably showed his real eyes. Is probably all like,
These like, I
right,
mean,
man.
but it's a little different though. I would say his party music. I feel like I don't listen to Pitbull, but I know older people, older see, but his music hits hard with the Latino community.
Yes.
So like all them like old tias and 50-year-old, they like Pitbull.
Right.
Those are like his number one fans and followers, and like he's from Miami. I mean,
Right.
he got like you got them rich Cuban suburbs of Miami. They play his shit like so. Like his music is not necessarily music for a club of 20-year-olds. It's for the 50-year-olds who still go out and dance outside at night, and like they'll throw in a little Pitbull. So like he's kind of grown with his audience. He's not. I don't think he's aiming to like really have hits for 20-year-old clubs.
And like
He's
reel
trying.
in the younger crowd.
Correct. I think he. I don't think he will. I don't think he can compete with that. I don't even think that's his target audience. His target audience is like probably our age and above, 30 plus, who wear like white linen pants and shit. You know, like
Right, right.
that's his target audience. You know what I'm saying?
I like those
He's not.
pants. I ain't gonna lie, man. Those pants
Yeah,
are
what I'm saying, like he's trying to get that crowd. He's not. He's not. I don't think he's too concerned with it. He had his time.
right.
His 20-year-olds were like now they're 30s and 40s, and he's continuously making stuff for them. Cause
Right.
I've been to a few clubs and shit, and I don't hear no pit. I don't hear any pit bulls. So I mean, it's whatever. But kudos to him. He makes bank. He's Mr. Worldwide.
Mr. Worldwide, man, Mr.
You
Worldwide.
know,
That guy's everywhere, and he's still making music.
commercials.
Would
He does
you
commercials and all that.
would you rather hear every song that's ever made from Pitbull, or would you rather hear every artist just sing Pitbull songs?
I mean, I'd rather just hear Pitbull
Sing every
sing his own instead of somebody like
no.
Little.
It's the only choice. It's the only choice. You only have one choice. Like say like the world is like, hey, like the you got summoned up to see the
And
Lord.
my choices are
And
Pitbull or
it's your choices. Every song like, but just sung just by Pitbull, or Pitbull is
doing
everybody
his
singing
songs.
Pitbull song. Everybody's singing just
I'd rather
Pitbull.
hear Pitbull sing other people's songs. That shit would be hilarious.
So you would hear Air of the Night like with Phil Collins like
Yeah, but
Pitbull
Pitbull, yeah, or like Pitbull rapping some Biggie or something.
yeah
Yeah, like who the fuck is this? Picture me
Pitbull
at
singing some
546.
Jodeci.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm gonna make him go through the ringer. I'm gonna have all the songs, everything.
Oh my goodness gracious. And that everybody is the longest layup line I think ever in the history of basketball because like that right
Playoff
there.
warm ups, playoffs, it's the playoff edition. We get extended time.
Right?
Like Kyrie's, like we just showed up early to the court today. Greatness showed up early
There you
today.
go. We just did a Steph Curry warm up. So now transitioning on to mental health, sound body, sound mind. Right? The key to positive mental health as a modern father. How does somebody like you, Mr. Benji, assistant principal, dad, entrepreneur, psychology guru, the list goes on. I have a bunch of other stuff I can name, but we only have a short time.
Handsome man.
Han- Attractiveness is all the way there. It's how do you cope with stress?
um, I work out for one.
Mm-hmm.
A workout really does help. I know a lot of people say that, and there's some folks who don't believe it, who don't like it. Working out does help. I don't enjoy working out at 5 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
But I do work out in the morning on the weekends. But when I do work, I prefer to work out at night.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy right now. I like to get in a habit of working out before I come home. It gives me an opportunity to decompress before I come home. We have a lot of. I have had this year specifically. I've had a lot of rough days at work.
Mm-hmm.
So being able to hit the gym on my way home, just even if it's quick, just to kind of give myself a moment before I come home and try to, be my regular self here. I have a really tight knit. I have a circle of friends, and I would say me and my best friend. The we have some raw conversations with one another.
Mm-hmm.
We have been friends since we were 14 years old. We talk about everything, and we hold each other up to a high standard, and we're very vulnerable with one another.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've had some really deep conversations about things that we've experienced in our lives. He probably knows every secret about me. I know all his secrets as well. So that's very helpful.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really share with a lot of people as far in depth in that, but me and him, we have a very, very tight friendship to where we talk about everything. And he has no problem, just the same way I have no problem. I'm like, you're a fucking idiot.
Mm-hmm.
You're fucking up. You're an idiot, and this is what you need to be doing. You need to change this. You need to look at what you're doing here and make an adjustment. Man up and stop bitching about it and do something. Like really raw. Like there's no holding back.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you don't want to hear it. Some of our other friends kind of get upset with us because we pull that same shit on them too. And we just let them know, like, if you are rolling with us like that, you're gonna have to hear it,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm not tolerating dumb, goofy behavior around us, and we're not doing that. So having that person has been very helpful. I would say being vulnerable with my wife. Again, I've had tough conversations with her, so I feel like I'm able to be myself, my true self, at all times.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think a lot of men experience that. I think a lot of men try to presume as like the perfect man,
Mm-hmm.
or what they're supposed to be,
Mm-hmm.
and that doesn't work for me because I overthink everything. So if
Right.
I have a feeling or I got a problem, I gotta get it off my chest. Those are like my three biggest things. Those are the big three that I really stick to. And I would say like controlling my vices.
Mm-hmm.
When I was young, I was a partier, drink, a lot, party all the time. But like making sure I'm sleeping, making sure I'm not overindulging in my vices. That has been very helpful. And in order for me to do that, was the best thing was for me to leave Chicago. I
Right.
just needed to get away and learn how to do things different. And leaving Chicago has really helped my mental game.
Oh, for sure. Oh, for sure.
For
How,
sure.
how do you think? Oh, my one follow up question. I'll get into mine.
Go ahead.
How do you think all of this has like worked out for you, knowing that you have these coping mechanisms, these coping skills? to help you deal with these stress? Like, how, like on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you think they're working? And do you think you can like evaluate a few of them or add more? Like, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's probably at like a nine, eight,
Hmm.
8 or 9. Definitely, I still have stressful moments. I still have moments of doubt. I still have moments where I overthink. This has been helpful. This is something I've been wanting to do. So I've had it in my brain, like, I want to get on a podcast. I want to do these. I want to do these things. We talked and we're like, well, fuck it, let's just do it together. That was like something I could just remove off my brain. So thinking about it, it's transferred over to doing it,
Hmm.
and I kind of like made more space to do other things. About an 8 though. I mean, there's always room for improvement. I feel like we're still young, so I'm gonna grow a lot now that I have this little person that I'm taking care of. That's gonna help me propel to the next level. And there are gonna be stressors that come along with being a father that I need to be prepared for. I feel like I put myself in a position with the intentionality of the steps I've taken to this point, and good, but there's going to be need for improvement, right? So like, how is it going to be when I go to work and I can't go to the gym,
Hmm.
right? Or because I have my baby sick, or she needs something, or I got to pick her up from the nanny, or I got to do X, Y, and Z. I don't have that leisure of just being able to go to the gym whenever I want.
Hmm.
Like, that's going to add a whole new level of stress, and just it's going to be figuring out how do I navigate my time better. And honestly, the biggest thing is just like, again, controlling my vices. I haven't smoked bud in a minute, and I really don't miss it.
Yep.
I really don't miss it. I sleep good. I wake up non groggy. When I have to wake up at 3 a.m., I'm pretty alert. I'm pretty ready to go.
You
I'm
get
able to get,
dreams. You get the
yeah,
dreams.
I get dreams. I'm able to go right
Hmm.
back to sleep.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That has been helpful. It's been helpful. Not. Do I miss it sometimes? Sometimes,
Mm.
socially.
Socially.
Socially
Socially.
is cool, you know
Hmm.
what I mean? But I haven't really been social. So
True.
I've been good on that. And that has been the next step.
Right.
Because I live in Colorado, bro. We got bud everywhere.
Everywhere. It's
It's
legal.
normal. It's
It's
legal.
legal.
It's normal. It's a
Legal.
normal thing to do. I mean, I started smoking bud when I was in high school, right?
Yeah.
So like, this is just something. Shit, not even high school, middle school, 8th grade, I was already chiefing.
Hmm.
So to start kind of like kicking that bad habit. Well, I wouldn't say bad habit, just something I don't really feel like I need. I'm not as productive. It gets in the way of other things I need to do. I feel like I was
Hmm.
using it as an excuse. I'm like, oh, like I got really bad shoulders. I have arthritis. It feels okay, like it does help me like stretch better. I'm not gonna lie there. Like, it does help me stretch better. But I had similar effects with just CBD pills.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, I mean, that I think that's the next step of just continuously working on my vices, being okay, being vulnerable, being open to conversation. One thing that was hard was like, now that I have, no one ever asked me how I'm doing. That was hard.
Huh.
So like throughout like my whole wife's pregnancy, or even
Hmm.
when she gave birth, like no one gives a shit about how I feel.
No.
It's
No.
and like
Well,
it's always,
and that's why this podcast is there because I
yeah,
remember like I wanted to hear from you and how
yeah,
you were doing because you're right. That is such a crucial
yes,
thing. It's no one checks on another dude's mental health. You think we're all stoic and like we're always oh man we're always good, but like man we could be going like through certain things too. Like oh man like I'm trying to do this to make her feel good, but I'm not taking care of myself. You know, so
correct.
I'm glad you mentioned that, man.
And it's
That's
like
crazy.
yo, my life's changing too. Like, I get it. Like,
Hmm.
I'm not trying to compare. Like, I get it. Like, the body change and the hormone. I get all that. I'm not trying to make a comparison. That is not what I'm
No,
trying to do. But what I am
no.
trying to say is, as an individual that's along for the ride, that there is an impact there for me as well. And it was
Hmm.
just a common theme of no one cared to ask how I was doing.
Right.
No, like, and it's just like, chopped liver.
Yep.
like, like,
Yep.
hello, like, I got my human too. Like, I'm going through some shit too, man. Like, I'm freaking out. My life's about to change too. And no one just be like, hey, how are you doing?
Yeah.
How are you holding yourself up? How are you filling your bucket?
It's common because like I remember when going through long term when we were have a little boy, the same thing. You know what I mean? No one comes to the male and be like, dude, like, what's your life gonna be like after this? And like, I went through like huge changes, man. Like, I went from working, 60 hours a week, from coaching to, painting shoes to, working at the school, doing the all kinds of work. You know what I mean? I was working a lot. I was working a ton, and then now I'm only working what 25, 30 hours a week now. Like I'm working part time, but I'm full time with my son, and that's a huge dramatic shift on you mentally. And it took like 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks to actually feel normal in this position. It felt like I was not a member of the working class anymore. The first week of this, I was actually felt like my manhood was stripped when I became a stay-at-home dad. I really did. I felt like that I was a weak dude. Like I felt like, hey, like you're taking care of kids now, like your own kid. Like it's cool. It's you're saving money. Like you're also being in your kid's life a lot more. You're instilling like masculinity. I had to talk myself into this role because if I didn't talk myself into this role, I'd just sit here and be miserable. If I didn't find the job with the Vegas Knights, I'd have been miserable. If I didn't start running the basketball thing, I'd be miserable. If I didn't work out every single day and increase this masculine frame, now I put on like about 12 pounds of muscle, like I would have been in shambles. My life would have been like completely changed. But you're right. No one asks those questions like, "Hey man, you doing okay? Like staying at home all day with your boy, Like that's a dramatic shift, from you. No one checks on the dude. So like that's why it's important that we have things to do to alleviate that stress because it would have ate me alive. And also too, I had to find my own reasons why I was staying home. Not just for my son, not just for my long term, who's out there now like bringing home the bread, the full bread. And I think that messed me up the most. Out of this whole process is that she's out making money. I'm raising the kids and like growing up, like we had gender rules growing up in my family. So now like I'm looking at myself like, yo, you're a little bitch, bro. Like you're at home. You know what I mean? Like you can't provide for the family right now. Like you just went from like hey, like we're gonna go out to eat at like some fine ass restaurants because I got money. I got a gang of money in the savings. Like you're like credit score is real good. Like you're the man. Now it's kind of like yo, like you're doing laundry. You're sitting at home with a kid. Like so like dude, it messed me up, man. Like those first few weeks, like it was hard, man. So like that kind of stress would bury some people into like more of like, hey, like
anger, and like I could see like competition, right? And it's just
yes,
like, and
yes, and not only that, like jealousy.
yeah, and jealousy.
Like I'm watching her, because at the time she was going to the elementary school. She's going back and forth, and she's talking to a bunch of people. She's getting to know a bunch of people. She's excelling in her job. So I had to flip my whole mindset and just be like, hey, if this is my role, if my role is going to be changed like this, and if this is going to be my role, lean all the way into it, all the way. So that's when I started reading books. I got a book from my boy Randy. Shout out to my boy Randy up at VGK, man. You're the greatest, man. I hope you listen to our podcast too. And shout out to my boy, dude. He's amazing. He gave me a book on like on how to parent toddlers. So like I had a gist, but just reading that book just gave me more information, and that investment in myself really helped. Second thing was not only just reading the books, but just going online, seeing what other parents are seeing. I didn't see any dad blogs, so I was reading women's blogs. All right, what do women do? This and this and this and this. How can I multitask? How can I make sure like this? But then also too, my jobs, I'm still working, and this podcast saved my ass. This podcast is so therapeutic for me, editing these videos, listening to like our banter and everything, and like our conversations, it is so therapeutic. It is a lifesaver for me in this situation. And then also working out, going to the gym, and just talking to people like wherever I see people on the path. Like I take walks twice a day when it's not snowing, when it's not super windy. I'm always walking and I talk to my neighbors, and I'm always politicking and talking to them and get to know them. I'm going to the hockey game tomorrow with one of them. So just building my own community. I'm making the most out of my situation, and I'm not going to sit here and wallow in it because I know it's temporary. And I'm starting back into school next month. Starting to do college again next month. So make the most out of any situation to cope with that stress, and don't let things like get you down, and don't stay in the negative. Just make the most out of any situation. Try to make it positive as possible, and keep building yourself up, because I could have wallowed in this whole thing and walked away from all this and be like, F this, I don't want to stay at home. You're going to stay at home. And then we have bitterness, and then all of a sudden we're fighting and an entanglement and stuff like that. And then I would have been working like 70, 80 hours a week, trying to make like ends meet for both of us. So make the most out of your situations. That's all I got to say about that. Do you practice mindfulness at all?
To an extent. So what I like to do is, I do practice yoga.
Mm-hmm.
I try to go once a week. I do enjoy that. I like to maximize my car rides.
Mm-hmm.
So my car ride, I haven't been doing it lately just because I've been at home. So I've kind of had a lot more time to chill, and I'm not as overwhelmed. All my focus is really just on my baby, and my wife, of course. But when it's work, my ride is in the morning is silent.
Mm-hmm.
I don't play anything, and I use my car. I love driving to an extent. To a short drives, like it's cool because it's early. There's no one really out, but I drive quiet with no music, and I think about my day. I think about myself. I talk to myself. I kind of go through the ideas I have. And I would say that's really my mindfulness, and then yoga, of course. I try to really focus on just being in the moment, trying to focus, especially like I think you've seen me on Instagram when I'm hanging upside down.
Yeah.
I try to use that time too. Like it feels really good, like to sit there and think, and blood's rushing, and stand up, and I feel like alive. It feels great.
Yeah.
I would say, to an extent, I'm not like, I'm not over here sitting in silence for hours, and
Right.
I'm not Aaron Rodgers in the dark and shit. I'm not doing all of that, but I do take moments to be intentional with just being present, and going through scenarios that I've been kind of pondering over.
I practice mindfulness at least, I would say, twice a day. Like whenever I put little baby down, we have like the sound machine, and
I hate that shit.
I love the sound machine. I got so used to it. Like we have it's just depending on what sound you put on. Like if you put on some like bogus sound, like with the like the animal sounds and stuff like that. That's
like Channel 3. I don't work that shit.
We put the white noise on, or the dryer. White noise, dryer, or the rain. We have the three. Those are my top three. And like each time, like it's just like, hey, I put him down in the crib, and I'll sit right next to him. I don't have anything in my hand, no cell phone, no nothing, and I'll just sit there and just rock back and forth in that rocking chair and just think about my next moves. Right? So hey, today, like, hey, we're doing this, this, and this. How can I best set myself up for this? I got this to do. I got that to do. Just lining stuff up. And then also, once I'm done doing that, then it's just like, hey, this is great. I'm in such a privileged position. I always think about how I am in a privileged position right now to be a stay-at-home dad, because not a lot of people have that opportunity to do that stuff. So I always am thankful. I'm always thinking like, hey, like this situation is great. I'm super thankful for everybody who helped me get to this spot. I'm really appreciative of the people that I have in my life. Who else can I add to my life that's going to help me get to a better place, and how can I help them get to a better place? How can I best help this podcast? Like all these ideas come up during meditation. That 15-minute period, like today, That's where this came from. The yesterday's, I mean, not yesterday, yeah, last week's, yeah, that's where it came from. Just that moment of clarity, that 15 minutes is sitting there, no TV, no cell phone. It's such an experience. And I used to think that I used to get that with, like you said, like, smoking the marijuana, the pot, because like I was doing that ever since high school. And I used to think that was meditative, but now that I'm like
Vegetative.
clean, you're more of in a fog, and then you don't remember anything that you even said. Like you're really, yeah, all the stuff that you thought of, like you don't think. And like I'm not gonna bash anybody who does that, man. Like because I did it for such a long time, but I made so much excuses for myself in that situation that like I didn't really know what it was like to be sober. I didn't. I didn't. I just made excuse after excuse after excuse after excuse until finally that little boy came in my life, and I was like, you know what? Let me try this, and for him, let me do this for him, and let me see how I like it. It's like fasting. I gave it 2 weeks. I really like it. I like the results. It was good. This right here, I love the results, and like it's good. I feel like I'm not in the deep fog anymore. Um, I love meditation, man. You should try it. Just like you do it. You do it on the road and everything like that, and it's good. Just like just foresee what you're gonna do in the future, and it puts you like in a really really good place.
Yeah,
Um,
no, I've been more too like just intentional. Like when I wake up at night with her,
uh huh.
sitting in the nursery, and I just sit here in this chair that I'm sitting in right now and rock. And I try to I stay with her for like an hour
Mhm.
before I put her back in the bassinet because I don't want her to wake up.
Mhm.
So like that whole process is like an hour of change, feed, burp, chill. And like while she's chilling, I mean she's not most of the time she's laying there with her eyes closed. I'm just kind of just rocking her. And that's
Mhm.
another time that I use to just kind of see like, man, it's just a lot. I get a lot. Still at the moment when I look down, like, yo, this is fucking crazy. Like, you're almost, yo, stop looking like me, shit. Right? You over here looking like me, and I'm looking like you. And she's
She's pretty, man. She's pretty.
just peaceful, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a good girl, man. I'm very proud of you on those you have the Instagram pictures. Um, Drinking water,
I drink
eating
water all
healthy.
day.
How much water do you consume a day? Especially like when you're working out. Like say you had like a hardcore workout day, right? Like you're like, man, like all right, like you were cleaning up, bar work, you're squatting, you did a full body routine. How much water do you think you would drink in a day?
Probably like 5 of these.
Uh huh.
I don't even know how many ounces this is. Um,
I miss my cup,
my
man.
my
I get so
Yeti,
jealous of your
my
cup,
Yeti
bro.
Coach mug. I drink a lot of water. I mean, we drink water all day in our house. My wife and I are pretty good at drinking water. I mean, I wake up, I'll drink about half of this,
Mhm.
and then I'll have my pre-workout,
Mhm.
and then I'll drink probably two, about 40 ounces during my workout of water. And then I'll fill up like another 10 ounce for my drive home from the gym.
Mhm.
And then I'll probably, from the time I'm home from the gym, probably drink like 3 or 4 of these. Um, and I eat every meal. I have water.
Mhm.
I drink water a lot, and it's a habit that I've definitely developed while being in Colorado.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I didn't drink water like this when I was younger. Um, but I love drinking water. There's, all day,
It's beautiful, man.
and
It's such a
fruit,
good
and I
thing.
eat fruit every day.
Yeah. It's intense because like the
Very
can you
cliche. I'm a very cliche educator. I eat an apple a day.
can you imagine like I know you see some of your students right and like they pull up to the school and like the first thing they have is like Takis or Funyuns. They got the hot red hot Funyuns,
I mean, that was me
and a
though.
big gulp or a soda or
That was
Arizona
me.
iced tea.
That was me, bro. When I was a shorty,
Yeah,
I used to eat a Kit Kat bar for breakfast every day.
yeah,
Every day
yeah.
that was my breakfast Kit Kat. It had to be the single thick bar. I don't know why, but I would get that every single day from 7-Eleven. 70
Right.
cents every single day.
And then you couple that with not drinking any water,
Yeah,
so then you're expected to perform on a mental level with that being your fuel.
yeah.
So like I think our expectations, especially for students and for kids and for our kids, is like we have to fuel them up with the best thing that we can possible. And some people, I know some people can, but like if you think about it, where you got those places, where you got those Funyuns, those red hot chili peppers, red hot chili peppers, the red hot Funyuns, the Takis, the Kit Kat bars, all that stuff. There's other options in there like bananas, apples, nuts, unsalted nuts. There's other options in there that'll give your children and yourself, if you're that way, better fuel for the day. And then also too, instead of getting that whole big ass big gulp, get some water, drink some water, just to make yourself feel better during the day. 'Cause I couldn't imagine that being my fuel, man. My body would probably shut down.
I mean, now as an adult, like definitely not. But when I was a shorty, man, like these kids, I was the same way, bro. Like I ate hot
Hmm.
Cheetos, I ate chocolate candy, like I said, chocolate candy, hot Cheetos,
Hmm.
regular basis in the morning. I mean, I'm talking 7 a.m. Like we was hanging out outside the building at show up to school at like 7, outside chilling. I got a bag of hot Cheetos. This is
Hmm.
a time where Cheetos were like a quarter each, so I had
Yeah.
one bag of hot Cheetos, one bag of hot fries, 2 bags of hot popcorn, and that was my breakfast. Or I eat them throughout the day, but I would like
Hmm.
not necessarily not really drinking water. Only time I drank water in school was to get out of class and go into the hallway. Like literally,
Yeah.
that's the only time I drink water. Now I when I don't drink enough water, I can feel it. I feel gross. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
I feel disgusting today. Like, and I'll look back and like, damn, I really didn't drink any water. Same thing with coffee. Like, I prefer my coffee just black. You know, I drink black
Team,
coffee.
team black right here. I'm the
I
same
drink.
way. I can't do like milk in there and sugar
I
and
can
all
do
that.
it, but that's like a treat. So like if I go to, you know, like I got my spot over here that I go, my wife and I love Santos
Uh huh.
Mexican Grill,
Hey, yeah,
fire.
yeah. How is that? How is that? Like
They're
overall, like how
booming.
is that
They're
place?
booming. They're booming.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really dope. I was just in there the other day, and I was like, "Dang, y'all are bopping right now." He's like, "Yeah." He's
Right.
like, "Somebody made a TikTok about us, and since that TikTok came out, we just been it's been busy all day, every day."
Yeah.
Um, but like they have really good coffees. Like they make this like lavender vanilla latte, and it's fire.
Ooh.
So like I'll drink that. So like Monday through Friday is black coffee.
Mm-hmm.
Monday through Friday, black coffee. When I'm at work, I don't put anything. I make a pot of black coffee in my office, and it's just that I'm sipping on that throughout the day. I love my black Bustelo all day. Weekends, like I said, like on a Saturday, I might have like a coffee with like creamer in it. Or if I go out for lunch, for breakfast or brunch with my wife, they have something like they're known for or something cool. I'll get there to try it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Um, my wife goes to Starbucks. If she gets me anything from Starbucks, it's usually just a matcha latte.
Right.
I try not to do this overdo it. This is a lot of unnecessarily calories and fat in that.
Yes.
You know, black coffee is a natural fat burner. I used to use black coffee as my pre-workout when I was younger.
Uh-huh.
But now I use actual pre-workout. But I love black coffee.
Me too.
It's
Me
good.
too. It's when it's the
I'm
only way I
not too
drink
big
coffee
on teas. Like I'm not too big on. I'd rather have black coffee than tea.
any day of the week.
Um, but I'll drink it. You know, if I'm sick or I'm not feeling too hot and I need something a little different. You
Right.
know, get a medicine ball from Starbucks. Not too bad.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that like your mental health is a trickle down of your child's mental health?
Absolutely. I mean, absolutely. Your kids know when you're stressed. They feel it, especially. I'm thinking like at her age, right? Like if I was like that, think about like all the interactions you have with your kid. If you're stressed, that's gonna dictate and have an influence on how playful you are,
Mm-hmm.
how you are talking to their mother, how you're interacting with your mother, how you're even carrying her, right? Like there are times where I'm just really tired and I don't feel like carrying her, and that's I feel like she feels it, so she becomes more fussy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, dude, you better carry my ass the right way. Like, so if you're coming home with all that, or you're just irritated all the time and you're not available, babies know. Kids know, especially once your kid gets older, they know,
Mm-hmm.
and you're teaching them bad habits of avoidance,
Mm-hmm.
right? Mental health is really boils down to like I would say not like chemical imbalance mental health. I'm talking like emotional mental health. Most of the time you're running from something, you're lying. You're
Mm-hmm.
thinking if you're depressed, you're stuck on something in the past. If you're anxious, you're worried about something that hasn't happened yet. It's really what it boils down to. It's a matter of figuring out which is which and being honest and truthful about those.
Do you think mental health is a class um, type of ideology? So like if you're poor, you think is that a correlation of your mental health? If you're middle class, is that a correlation of your mental health? Or if you're rich, is that a correlation of your mental health? Or you think just everybody has can have different levels of
I think
mental health?
everyone has. I think the I think if you are not acknowledging what's going on, then I think you just sit in it longer.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have the means to go see a therapist and you're actually open to doing so, you're
Mm-hmm.
able to explore why you're feeling this way, and you'll have a higher likelihood of being able to change your trajectory. But if you're a working class, lower SES person, and you have to choose between putting food on the table and being and doing therapy, you're gonna choose to put food on the table, and you might just prolong your progress. It's
Right.
just being able to. Some people don't realize like how shit impacts them, but they can tell you all these crazy things and that's happened to them, and not be able to like articulate or make the connection of like you're telling me this crazy ass story and you don't see how that experience is making you avoid a certain situation, and by you avoiding that specific situation, it's impeding your ability to progress in life.
Right.
Right? That's really deep critical thinking to get to that point. But when you get folks to like to understand that, it's like
Isn't that like a form of accountability?
it can be, but or just acknowledgement,
Mm-hmm.
right? I would say acknowledgement before accountability. You can't be accountable for something you don't know.
Right.
So once you know it, now you're accountable for changing it.
Yeah.
But if you don't acknowledge it or you don't recognize it, you can't be accountable for it.
Right. That makes a lot of sense. I mean, I think a lot of people don't know, or or maybe fear, or you know,
Or there's just
anxiety, or some other things that they're not willing to confront
I
what they don't know.
and I would say that the bigger piece is most of the time people think it's normal.
Mm-hmm.
It's normal. There are a lot of things that I experience that like they're just not normal. Like the whole thing about the whole eating thing, right?
Right.
All of my friends, we all grew up poorer, you know what I'm saying? Like my grandma hates when I say we grew up poor. But like, we weren't rich, we weren't where I wouldn't say we were middle class. We had Section 8 housing.
Mm-hmm.
We made by with what we had. Me eating hot Cheetos and eating shit breakfast every single day during the school week, um, that was normal.
Right.
That was the norm because it wasn't just me. It was me and literally every other kid in my school did that. I guarantee you, though, if I went to the private school or Catholic school a few blocks away, no one was eating like that.
Right.
Right? Our norms were different. So when you step into a different world, you realize that like the norms I was raised with are not the norms of the greater society.
Mm-hmm.
So then that's when the issues start to arise because you start to fucking realize that like, yo, a lot of this stuff is not what's normal. Not everyone experiences this.
Mm-hmm.
I learned that like transferring schools. I went from an all black and brown school that we thought was pretty good to an all middle class, higher class white school. And I was like dumbfounded, like, yo, this is totally different. Like everything I thought was normal is really atypical. Things that you think are normal, like kids who live in the hood. Like, think about the kids who live in my neighborhood right now.
Right.
Right, I live in Denver, Colorado. It's not like this super dangerous city, not like super crazy, especially compared to Chicago. But there are parts of the
There's
city
parts.
where
Yeah.
if you want trouble, trouble will find you.
Oh yeah.
So I have kids in this neighborhood across the street. I see little kids there all the time. Their norm is what? Open prostitution,
Mm-hmm.
open drug market trade, people strung out on the street, hanging out on Colfax. That is a norm to them. If I take these kids and drop them off in, I don't know, Inglewood, Colorado, where Peyton Manning lives, and his
Mm-hmm.
Grant Ranch, or on the opposite side in Southwest Denver, where everyone has like a $500,000 house, higher $1 million houses, gated community, they're going to realize that their upbringing was atypical to other people. That's a mind fuck in itself.
Right.
There's a huge gap there onto
Huge.
what is normal to what you think is normal to everyone, and then you realize like, yo, this is really not how life works.
So I'll ask this question especially as a father, as a parent, is it your job to make sure that even though if you grew up like that your parents, I mean, that your kids don't see those things, that your kids grows up in a better environment that you came from, especially if you're an adult and like you know that this is a bad thing, and if you should know that this is a bad thing, isn't it your job to make sure that your kid doesn't see that stuff or try their best to make sure they avoid that.
I mean, I don't think you can avoid it. It's in your face.
Right.
The little kids that play across the street from my crib, they can't avoid, and it's not. They shouldn't have to sit in their house all day because there's people prostituting themselves down the block.
Right.
You can't avoid it, but what you can do is combat it. Right? We live in a city, right? All major cities, all cities have all these different things that you can go to, and a lot of the time they have free days.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You can hop on the bus and take your kid to a museum.
Mm-hmm.
You can. I mean, my mother, like when I was a kid, my mom exposed. We lived in housing apartments, but my mom took me across the entire city of Chicago on a train,
Mm-hmm.
on the bus, free days to the museum. Sign me up for the Chicago Park District, and we got a voucher. And she only had to pay $10 or $5 for the whole summer.
Right.
And then through me going to that program in a camp, I was able to go to all the field trips and do all the shit that around the city to have an understanding that there is something. We live here, yeah, but there's something bigger than this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we live in public housing. We live in a CHA building. We live in a Section 8 apartment. But if you do all the right things, you can go and do this. My mom used to work downtown at the John not John Hancock. It's called the I don't know. I forget the name of the building. Michael Cahan. I think that's the name of the building too. The Michael Cahan building.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And the cool thing is, I used to go to Michael Cahan's office. So like, my mom worked at the convenience store on the first floor. Not entry level job, nothing crazy. She'd take the train there, right across the street from Rock and Roll McDonald's.
Mm-hmm.
But my mom was cool with everybody. Everyone liked my mom. She was very social, very nice person. And I would walk around that entire building like I owned it.
Right.
So I had exposure, right? I could go up to the top floor to this man's office, with his beautiful office with glass walls and doors, and walk into his office and he would show me like, yeah, this is my building. And I also own that building, and I own that building, and that one. And dude, it was like I was mind blown of like it's a whole different world out there. So I knew at a younger age that there was more to the world than just living in our apartment in on the north side of Chicago.
Right.
There were other people doing totally different things. Like I said, my mom made the intentional effort to make sure I saw everything, not just negativity. My preschool was in the middle of the hood, projects, surrounded by violence, all types of shit, especially in the 90s. All types of crazy shit around. But within that center, they exposed us to greatness. Had us reading, telling us about all the things we can do, taking us outside, You learn how to have appreciation and find the beauty in all the ugliness and all the tragedy around you. But then there's also opportunity to go beyond those walls and see what is out there when you are established, when you are putting yourself in a position to do other things that are different.
Right.
So I think it's both. Like, yeah, of course you wish you can do it. You wish you could put your kid in a better situation. Most parents want to do that. Not everyone can. You know, they may, maybe you're a teenage parent and life's hard. But if you live in the city, bro, you can still go to a free day at the museum. You can still make sure that you know what's going on in your kid's school. You can still make sure that, like, if your school, it's hard, but I've seen it where, like, we have school choice here, and I knew kids who, when we worked at that one school together, middle school was one at the time when I was there, is one of the best middle schools in the state, and people
Mm-hmm.
would bus their kid on a public bus across the city to make sure their kid went to this school because it was number one in the city, top in the state.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That was a choice that mother made. Yeah, it was a pain in the ass. Yeah, it was hard, but she got him there for a specific reason. Exposure to something different.
How best could we how can we get more parents and more fathers like us, mothers, to have a more kid centric, hey, let me show you everything that I can show you, even beyond what we can see. How can we get more people on board with that? And then my follow up question too is that you talked about therapy. If you were to see a therapist, would you mind if they were white, or would like to see them more of a person of color?
I want to see quality.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I want. I want to see quality. Um, I've done therapy twice.
Mm-hmm.
Once was forced, once was on my own, and I had a middle-aged Middle Eastern woman who was my therapist when I chose to go.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't second guess, like, thinking of finding a match, or this person has to look like me. I didn't look for any of that. I just started talking to her one day and it worked out, and we had maybe 5, 6 sessions together,
Mm-hmm.
and I felt like I didn't need her anymore, and she agreed. It was great. I look for quality. I mean, obviously, there's going to be far more white therapists out there.
Yeah, I
Than
think there's like
more.
70. I think it's like over 70 something percent. All the therapists in this country are
I mean, yeah.
Caucasian.
I mean, it helps, right? Like, I would say, I've had great sessions with kids and who look like me,
Mm-hmm.
but I've also had great sessions with white kids. I've had white kids tell me a whole bunch of shit
Mm-hmm.
because of the quality of the conversation that we were having.
Right.
The buy-in to just me and them understanding that I was invested into their development.
Right.
I've had kids who were going through a sex change. I didn't even know much about it. I had to educate myself on how that can impact a teenager going through
Mm-hmm.
that. We had great sessions, and this kid is, you know, blossoming as a young adult now, and it's cool. Like, they taught me something within throughout that year, or was it a year? Yeah, throughout that year of weekly sessions, they taught me a lot. Taught me a lot about myself. Taught me a lot about their community. Um, so I've worked with a whole bunch of different kids. Like I said,
Mm-hmm.
poor kids of color, poor white kids. I worked with poor white kids. They got it bad too. I've worked with rich kids of color, and I've worked with rich white kids as well, and I've worked with everything in between. I don't necessarily look for people who look like me. I just need
Mm-hmm.
somebody who has the skills. If you got the skill set and you got a open heart and your ears are listening and they're working well and you know what you're talking about and you're solution focused, then you're the right person for me.
Mm-hmm.
But if you happen to be from the neighborhood and you not happen to know shit, that's a plus.
Right.
But understanding that that's rare.
Yeah, it's
That,
super rare.
you know what I'm saying? There's
That's
not
super
too
rare.
many. Like, I'm not trying to put myself on a pedestal, but there are not too many me walking. There's not too many me's walking around
Right.
working with kids who have a psychologist advanced degree who really looks into shit like this. There's not too many of us walking around. There are more. There's more and more, but by the time they finish and shit, it's gonna be a whole new slew of problems. But
Exactly. What do you think about the exposure portion of it? Like, how can we get more adults to expose their kids to see more, especially if they're coming from harsher backgrounds?
I mean, just keep it simple. It doesn't have to be crazy. I mean, everyone wants to see the world and shit, but see your community, see your area. I feel bad for, and they always get looked over, are folks in rural areas. That's
Mm-hmm.
tough, dude. There's nothing to do.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing to do. Like, and I'm thinking of like when I was back at home in Chicago, I had an interview. I don't even know why I interviewed her, how we even got connected. Uh, at Champaign,
Mm-hmm.
Urbana. It's 3.5 hours from Chicago, bro.
Yeah.
The biggest draw there is the University of Illinois. That's like the
Right.
biggest thing
I
that's
heard there's like a lot of cow. It's like there's like a lot of farms and stuff.
flat. It's flat
Yeah.
farmland. I
Uh-huh.
mean, so like that's tough. Like that's hard to like navigate. But again, I guess you would have to look. I don't know too much about it, but obviously, I think you would use the university. And I
Mm-hmm.
know on my campus we had like a daycare for kids, and we had like in the community that had little things that I used to go. I used to volunteer to read to kids when I was in college. It was called Hope Haven. I used to
Mm-hmm.
read to like toddlers and shit on a weekly basis. That was cool. But I think just keeping it simple. Uh, you want to read to your kids. You want to read wide, read well, read often. So think about that when I say read wide. Not everything needs to be a picture book.
Right.
Right,
Right.
informational.
Yeah.
Uh,
I read,
everything.
I read my kids'
News.
sports articles.
Yes, yeah. Because by doing that, what you're doing is obviously you're showing them different parts of our world.
You're right.
You're exposing your child to vocabulary, which
Mm-hmm.
is huge. Just a little quick. I read when I was in grad school. My professor showed us this statistic that a 21-year-old adult who's lived in poverty their whole life speaks around 4,000 words,
Yeah.
3,000, 4,000 words. A baby toddler, 2 year old, 3 year old, who lives in a household with two middle class professional parents, so they have at least bachelor's degrees,
Mm-hmm.
speaks about 3,000 to 4,000 different words.
Yep.
So think like knowing that, I mean, so diversify what you're reading to your kid.
Right.
Take advantage, put your pride away, and take advantage of free days. They're a little hectic, obviously, because they're free, so a lot of people are there. But it's worth the long term investment. Exposure to different things is what really triggers your kid's IQ to become higher and stable. That's how you learn.
Right.
Again, do the research. Look into like your local park districts.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, when I was a kid, I was able to go to summer camp in Chicago Park District. I think I paid like $10 a month. I worked for the Chicago Park District with camp. I would say 98% of the kids I worked for, shout out Clarendon Park, were all on vouchers, and we would take them around the city, and we've done different trips and kept them out of trouble. And thinking about like a person like me, I was having conversations with my kids every day. I always worked with
Right.
young teens, 12 year olds. They were going through some crazy shit, and we used to talk through it, and they had an outlet. Um, so I would say number one is reading as many experiences. Again, don't go crazy. Like, kid don't gotta go to Dubai and shit. Like, they don't have to do nothing crazy like that. Like, it doesn't have to be extravagant. It can be a road trip. You can learn a lot from a road trip. You can learn a lot from just simple things like that. But putting that effort. If you live in a city with a transit system, ride that train around. I rode the train around all of Chicago. I've been on all the trains, all the lines. I used to go with my mom all the time. She used to
Right.
show me. She used to tell me. She used to quiz me on the stops. You know what I mean? Learn how to take the bus. Those little things, like you learn how to navigate and be independent. And then I would say the last thing is, just have emotional check-ins with your kid
Oh, all day.
all day,
All
and
day.
even when they're little, like
Yeah.
when they're, I can tell,
Yeah.
like
That,
my
that, that, that
daughter's
should be that should be happening all throughout college.
I would say now, like I can tell when my daughter's fussy.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell, and like she communicates through cries.
Right.
So like differentiating, what does this cry mean? This cry means she's hungry. This cry means she's trying to push out a dookie, or she's trying to push out a fart. This cry means she's just being whiny and she wants attention. Like that's her communicating her social emotional needs at a young age of a month.
Right.
It gets easier, obviously, as they get older because they can tell you. But just being intentional and paying attention to what's happening when you see or hear these different things coming from your kid.
For our halftime, now time sports minute, real quick. Super Bowl was amazing. What do you think about that holding call? Real fast.
Right call, terrible moment.
Yeah.
They didn't call holding all day,
Right.
so just let it ride.
Right.
It wasn't. I mean, it would have been nice to see what Jalen Hurts could have done with 90 seconds and 2 timeouts.
From a viewer's perspective, I think that I definitely would love to see that because just we want to see like Super Bowl. It's the last game of the season. I want to see it come down to actual football in the last minute of the game. I think Jalen Hurts balled out. I think Patrick Mahomes balled out. The only thing that Jalen Hurts did was that fumble. And that was like the only blemish on his thing. But other than that,
did you see the clip? Did you see the picture on that fumble when the dude had his whole hand on his mask?
No, I didn't see that.
Yeah, he had his he had his whole hand in a face mask.
Sheesh, I didn't see that. I did not see that.
I mean, I thought it was a great Super Bowl, and
Great Super Bowl.
If that call wasn't made,
right,
and they kicked the field goal, Jalen Hurts has an opportunity to tie the game or take the lead, and I think if he would accomplish that. Say he won the game, touchdown. That would have been a top 5 Super Bowl of all time. Top 3 Super Bowl of all time.
You think so?
I thought the Super Bowl was great, man.
Yeah.
High scoring.
Yeah.
It was lovely. It was beautiful. Comeback, you know what I mean? Like, it was great. I have no complaints. Like I said, I'm not mad at the referee. At least it was a real call, not like us. Remember, I got that behind the block in the back that wasn't real.
Yeah, oh, dude, I'll never forget that phantom call, man. That phantom call, in the pantheon of sports, like my sports history, that was like the worst call. I'm not gonna name any names, but he knows who he is that made that call, and couldn't even tell us who even did the block in the back. Now, it was one thing to be like, all right, it was a block in the back, but he's like, you couldn't even tell us who did the foul. Man, that was.
I was like, okay, who was the foul on? Who was that
right.
on? So I could tell him something.
He said, we can coach him up. No, but there was crickets.
He said one
crickets.
of them. Like, come on, bro.
And it's a championship when you're saying that stuff. And we were coming back. We would have tied the game up if that would have counted. That's crazy, dude. Oh man, I think that's why that game hurt the most. Is because of that.
I'll never forget that.
Yeah, man, sports history. Yeah, overall, the Super Bowl was great, though, man. I loved it. Halftime show, it was like top 15. I went, hey, Rihanna, I know she was pregnant and she couldn't do too much of the stuff, but like it was no Bruno Mars, it was no Weeknd, it was no Beyonce.
No Snoop like that last year's.
No, nothing like Dr. Dre and Snoop and stuff like that. But it was decent, though, it was decent.
Cool.
Yeah, it was cool.
If you're a big Rihanna fan, like you're in love with it. I mean, she's cool. I don't, it is what it is. I'm kind of indifferent about it.
Me too. It
was solid. Congrats on their second kid.
Last words for the podcast?
Shit, man. Just keep on following. Just run the numbers up. We got to work on our marketing.
Yes, we do.
Shout out to like our consistent 11 fans.
Yes.
Followers.
We'll show up week to week.
Leave a comment. Let us know what you want to hear. Let us know what we can work on. This is for everybody. It's not just for us. Although we do find this therapeutic.
Yes.
We want it to be meaningful for other folks. So if you have anything you need to talk about or need some input on, feel free to drop that in our comments so we can add it to the mix. And as always, take care of yourselves, take care of your families, and wash that ass.
Like, comment, and subscribe, and make sure you use a wash rag and some good loofah, and definitely some quality soap. Thanks again, everybody. Peace.